What's up, everybody? This is Cole Boling with the Boling Group at Keller Realty, One Legacy Partners here in Topeka, and you are listening to Topeka Business Uncensored. Here we go. Hey, everybody, this is Cole Boling with Topeka Business Uncensored, and today I've got a close family friend with us, Amy Hough. She is one of my wife's best friends. And she's been a part of my life really for about 10 years now since I met my wife. And she has a really cool, very unique business that I can't wait to share with everybody. And there's a lot of people in the Topeka community that has utilized Amy's services. So I don't want to give it away, but I'm gonna hand over the reins. So welcome, Amy. I'm super excited to have you on here. So tell us a little bit about who you are, and then tell us what your business is.
Yeah, well, thanks, Cole. I'm happy to be here and to share about it. But I am a certified pediatric sleep consultant. So that is my business. And, I think sleep is really one of the number one complaints among parents that have young kids. You hear it a lot. And I think that some children are maybe a little bit more stubborn and just kind of more difficult to make changes to their habits. So those families really could use a little bit of extra help teaching them how to sleep well. So I take sort of a holistic approach to sleep, meaning that I want to evaluate the whole situation, daytime and nighttime sleep. And once I come up with a plan for that child, and we address, the bedtime routine, night wake ups, how to handle naps, early morning wake ups, really all of it. And then I give that family ongoing follow-up support so that they can really be successful and have that sort of hand holding while they're implementing their plan.
Okay, awesome. So let me see if I can't grab a couple things out there that were really interesting. So it's mainly for you just mainly work with kids, right? It's like parents that work with kids. It's not like you help adults figure out how to sleep better, right? That's not what we're doing here, correct?
Yes, exactly. Yep, just
Okay.
babies up to school-aged kids. I would say that age 10 is probably my cutoff there.
Sure. Yeah, and you have been doing this for how long?
It has been about 2.5 years now. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I could tell you that whoever, or, for everybody listening out there, that this is becoming a very, like, I've personally utilized your services, and I've personally utilized Amy's services, and it was custom made to our situation and our kids, and it was very fascinating to see the approach that I never in a million years would have thought about trying or going after. So what would you say is really a big difference between, you being a specialist in a sense and going out there with a kind of a custom built plan for these people than it would be on them just like going on the internet and finding something?
Sure. Yeah, a lot of the families that reach out to me have already tried something that they've read and it hasn't worked. There's a wealth of information out there about sleep, but the issue is that it can kind of be conflicting and just overwhelming to try to sift through all of that advice. So what I can do is evaluate the situation and the current sleep habits and take into account all of the advice that's out there and let them know that this is what you should do and give them that specific condensed advice for their child. And it's, when you're sleep deprived already and tired, you don't want to read through hundreds of pages of a book about it.
I don't do it even when I'm not tired.
Yeah. So I think people appreciate having, maybe a 6 or 8 page plan that really condenses what they need to know and what they need to do.
That's
And
awesome.
then, the other factor too is that I'm really holding them accountable to the plan. And that's another piece that can be missing when you're just trying to follow a book's advice or the internet.
Sure.
So they know they're going to be checking in with me, and that tends to kind of hold them accountable to what they should be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's great. I think this is an underutilized service. I think that anybody listening who has this challenge at home, I mean, I would probably say that almost 99% of parents have a challenge of sleeping early on,
Mm-hmm.
with their kids. You were probably the first person I ever knew that was so like, you're going to do this and you're going to do this with your own kids. And I was like, man, I had to figure out how to do that, right? And it worked. Like you were a living example of yourself prior to even going and becoming certified to do this. And then now that with years of experience and I mean, you've probably had hundreds of clients now. I mean, I know that there's been your name has come up so many different times. People that don't even know that I know you. It's like, hey, if you ever need this, person to help you with your kids' sleep, you should reach out to her. And I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. People at the hospital recommend you. I mean, your reviews speak for themselves. And so that kind of leads me to my next question is Topeka, right? This whole thing is
Mm-hmm.
about being an owner of a business in Topeka. What do you love most about owning a business in the Topeka area?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have experienced awesome word of mouth in Topeka. I think we have a fantastic community that likes to promote local business, and then also just an awesome community of fellow entrepreneurs that are passionate about building each other up and supporting each other and just enriching Topeka with really awesome local businesses. We've got some really great Facebook groups that are completely dedicated to that. And they're really active. There's a lot going on and a lot of promoting of those businesses and supporting. So it's really exciting to be a part of that.
Yeah, that is one thing I have noticed a lot lately is how much people are coming together to support the local businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of just saying, to my next question, don't give me the answer of just hire me, but how could people legitimately support you right now other than just hiring you?
Um, yeah, well, I think that everyone knows somebody that has a baby or a toddler and might have even heard them complain about sleep. Um, but I think just connecting them with me, probably to my Facebook page, because that's really where I post the bulk of my sleep tips. And I've built a community there that I think parents feel that they're not judged, and we talk about all kinds of different parenting struggles. I share my own, and
Sure.
so it's a good place to go with anything parent related. But I think that's a good place to connect people to a free Q&A session once a month when
Okay.
they've got questions about sleep.
Okay.
So just getting introduced, and then from there, if people want that little bit of extra help, then they know me and trust me, and we can move forward from there.
And what would you say is the best way for somebody to actually get in contact with you?
They can contact me through my website. You can send a message there,
Which is
or
what's the website?
that is amyhoughsleep.com.
Pretty easy. And
Yep.
it's spell
And
your last name for me or
yes,
for
it's
them.
H.
Yeah.
Good point. It's HOUGH. And it's,
HOUGH and then
yep.
sleep.com, right?
Yep.
And your Facebook page, do you know what the last part is?
So that is just the business name, Amy Hough Sleep Consulting. That's where they can find me there, and you can message me through Facebook as well.
Okay. Any other ways that somebody could contact you?
You can always shoot me an email. I'm on Instagram as well.
Email address?
Email is amy@amyhoughsleepconsulting.com.
Perfect. Do you have a company, a business phone number or anything like that? Or would you rather everybody just kind of contact you through these portals?
Yeah, those are the main ways. I would say, I mean, I have people call me up occasionally, but I have a set of questions that I like to ask about the child. So if I can have a heads up beforehand and have those
Sure.
questions ready and be sitting down and able to write that down, it's helpful.
And I think the way that we're rolling as a society, that most people don't call anyways anymore. I think most people are going through Facebook pages and emails anyway. So what I'm going to do is, if you're just listening to this as the podcast audio, I'm going to, that's why I wanted her to spell that out and say it. If you're watching this on YouTube, everything should be on the bottom of the screen right now that has her contact information on it. And we'll reiterate that again towards the end of our podcast. So, all right. So my next question, if you were to, can you hear me? Did we freeze a little bit here? Can you hear me? Just a second, we'll come back here. Can you hear me? All right, gotta love it. There's technology again. We're doing so good there, right?
I know.
So my next question for you is, if you were to give yourself, let's go back to starting the business. I may have even, we may have even been your first clients. I'm kind of.
You were among some of the first, yeah, for sure.
So let's go back there. If you were to give yourself advice today, right? And Amy was starting her business again, what kind of advice would you give her?
I think that I would say to stop trying to make my business look exactly like someone else's. I mean, I don't think you have to necessarily reinvent the wheel on everything. But it was important for me to realize that this business is my own. I'm the CEO, I'm in charge, and I get to decide what works best for me. And it might not look like this other successful sleep consultant's business in another state, but that's okay.
Sure. Yeah. It's funny. You're the second person today that I've actually had that same conversation with. And that was a lot around the idea of, when we try to model another person's business, what we typically fail to realize is that our personality traits probably different. And we're probably fighting against somebody that may be more outgoing or more, they may be more extroverted or more introverted. And you're trying to model this. It's not saying that it won't work, but everybody will change their path and their way in so many different ways because of the way that they are, the way that they're programmed, the way that they have beliefs. And so, no, I think that's great advice. So anybody that's listening, I mean, just be you is what I'm getting from that is, watch other people, take lessons from other people. Don't necessarily go out and do everything the same as them. Be you, take bits and pieces and just run with it. So great piece of advice. I love that. Another question that I have is, where do you see your business going? Is this something that you want? Do you like where you're maintaining? What's the next 5 years look like? Kind of is more my question.
Sure. When I first started, I always envisioned that it would just be me. This was just going to be my sort of side gig. And now at this point that I'm doing it full time, I would love to have some other consultants on board with me. What I've learned is that it's really difficult to step away from your business when you're the only one. So having a couple of other consultants that can take on some of the client load, and we can take a family vacation every now and then, and just be able to step away, I think that that would be ideal. So I definitely want to grow. I want to have more clients per month than I do now, and that way I can have other consultants to share the load with.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. I got you. Do you see me?
Yes.
Sorry, you froze, but I still got your audio, so that was good. So you potentially would like to make this bigger, make it a maybe, a location. What about a different city?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like this could be something that you could, let's say like, Kansas City or something? Like, do you feel like you could create a home base out of Topeka and expand into another market with your services?
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of what I do, is that I can do everything virtually. So I'm not confined to one particular area. And I've already had lots of business in other states and cities. I would say mostly it's regional at this point, but for
Okay.
sure, I can definitely expand into other places.
So if somebody knew, like, let's say somebody's listening to this and they have a family member in Louisiana and they're
Hmm.
having issues, they can
Yep.
call and hire you, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Because you can do it like this. You could do Zoom, you could do FaceTime, whatever, something to that extent, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Very cool. Very cool. And so let's recap a little bit. Um, as a consumer, as a listener, your business is very unique. It's one of those things that before you introduced it to us, I never really thought I didn't think much about it, right? It wasn't one of those things. It's like, oh, yeah, it's going to be huge. It's a great business. The more and more I've watched you grow your business, I'm like, man, that could be a huge business. I think that people don't realize what they need until they find out what they need, right? Um,
Sure.
One of my favorite sayings in all of business is, you don't know what you don't know until you find out what you don't know, right? And when you find out what you don't know, you would have wished you knew it sooner. And
Right.
what's super fascinating about your business from a consumer standpoint, from an outside standpoint, is that it kind of seems like it's really simple and anybody could do it. But I don't believe that's true. I actually believe it's completely the opposite. I don't think there's many people out there that could do it at all, for one, and do it the way that you do it. So tell us a little bit about why you are why this is so passionate for you as one, and why you are so good at it. I know this. I want your ego to come out a little bit. I know that's sometimes. I know that's not your
That's
personality,
fine.
but bring it out. Like, why are you the best, and why would somebody really want to hire you or should hire you? Like, I want to hear you talk about why you're the best.
Yeah. Um, well, as far as why I do it and love to do it, that just stems from my personal experience with our own children. We had a lot of struggle around their sleep when our youngest was an infant, and our daughter was just a little over 2. Um, they were both sleeping pretty terribly at that point. And I was back to work full time at my corporate job, and had been for about a month. And that's kind of when I reached that breaking point that I knew I needed to do something quickly to get them sleeping better, because I just couldn't function that way. Um, and so that's really when I started researching sleep and trying to figure out how to help them. And fortunately was able to. I was successful with that, and helping both of them sleep better. And so that's how I learned about this profession and what got me started. But it's made such a huge difference in our life. We are better parents when we're well rested. we have more patience and more energy. And I notice a huge difference in our children and in their behavior and their mood when they are well rested. So that's kind of where that passion comes from, and wanting to be able to share that with other families, and want them to be able to have that same rest that they need. As far as why I'm good at it, I think that one thing is I like spreadsheets. I like to kind of look at patterns of things. So I think that I'm good at recognizing where we need to make changes with a child's sleep. So from a technical aspect, I think I'm good at that. I enjoy communicating with my clients, and I think I'm empathetic towards them because I've gone through that struggle myself. So that's been helpful too, to be able to connect in that way, and just understand that it's a difficult process, and be able to sympathize with them on that. And then also I would just say that as far as my parenting style, I wouldn't say I'm incredibly strict, but I know how to keep the rules for our kids pretty black and white, and I don't have trouble enforcing that with them.
Is that another business opportunity that we could teach that piece of it outside of sleep?
The discipline.
The
Yeah.
discipline
So
side.
basically,
That's for the
I'm
parents.
not a
That's not
pushover.
the kids side. That's the parents need the discipline, because the parents.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. So it's kind of a learning curve for parents, at least when we're working with toddlers, that you can't be a pushover with this sleep stuff. You've got to, lay down the law. Sure. And I think I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I give in to everything. It's just whatever, just and then then it does affect us. So
yeah,
you proved my point though. Like, you can't even have an ego. Like this is one of the things that I absolutely adore about you, is that your humility and the humbleness that you presented through that. I gave you every opportunity there to be like, because I'm the best, straight up, right? You could have said whatever you wanted, and you still kept the humility. You're still humble through it. And I think that that's one of the best reasons somebody should hire you, is because you literally care about them. You care about their kids. You are showing that. You get the science behind it. You get you really get the passion to help people, and you understand it. So I think you proved a really great point for everybody listening, that you are a very easy person to trust. Take it from me, she's a very easy person to trust also, right? And I think that that's one of the biggest reasons that I know your business is going to be huge. I hope you get you get so many customers that you have to find help, and you have to find other people. You did mention something though that I want to go back to. Earlier we were talking about, don't model your business over somebody else's business, right? And then you said, I'm really good with spreadsheets, and I like spreadsheets. What would it be like if you were modeling your business after somebody that doesn't like spreadsheets and doesn't want to do spreadsheets?
Yeah, I think it'd be tough, because a child's sleep schedule it's really important. The daytime and the nighttime sleep is very connected. So when they're trying to learn some new sleep habits and sleep skills, it's really important to be, paying attention to that. You might be able to find a different method besides Excel that works for you. I know there's some apps out there that you can track sleep, and it can be a different visual in that way. But yeah, you've definitely got to be paying attention to the timing of sleep for sure.
Yeah. So, that is one of the biggest things about you and your business, is how much you do track and how much you do follow up and really make sure that people are getting the information correctly. Because, just like any business, if our numbers are skewed, things are inaccurate, we're not getting the correct reporting, then we're never going to fix the problem, right?
Yeah,
And everybody
sure.
goes into denial. Oh, my kid's sleeping good. My kid's fine. They're here. But when you look at the numbers, like how often, right? This is more of a rhetorical question, but how often are they really hitting the numbers that you believe they're hitting? Right, very often, right? It's like any business. I talk to people all the time about their business. The number one way to stay in business is to get leads, to have leads coming in and people talking to you and then purchasing your product, right? And people think they talk to a lot of people, and then they start tracking and they start looking at it, and they really don't talk to anybody. The good thing is I've got the audio working on my side, so no worries. But yeah, like people will literally get into these, they think they're doing something great and they're really not. And this is where it goes back to the whole, like, don't try to do stuff like this over the internet. Don't try to sell a house over the internet, right? Without working with professionals, right? It's the same concept. Could anybody do it? Yeah, anybody could pick a price, or anybody can go to YouTube and look at these things. But there's a real thing about professionals. People understand when professionals are involved that you usually get professional results.
There you are.
Not on you. So one of the things I just said, if I don't know if you heard me, but when a professional is involved, you get professional results.
Yes, absolutely.
When you as an amateur, not saying that everybody isn't capable of learning and developing and creating, but it's not what you do for a living. You're not if you go paint your bedroom right now, that doesn't make you a painter, right?
Sure.
You're not a professional painter, no matter how many times you do it. If you did it every day, it'd be different. You're a professional sleep consultant. Do you want professional results or do you want amateur results? Well, why would you not want professional results and the best results for you, for all of that? So I highly recommend everybody hires you. I mean, anybody, even if they're not, I would say even if they're not having like a ton of trouble with their kids, but like a little bit, like they probably should still get the analysis. I think that's am I wrong? Like, is that what's your thoughts on that?
No, that's perfect. And I definitely have clients every now and then that maybe the child is sleeping through the night, but they're just having a little bit of trouble with naps or something. And so every once in a while I'll do kind of a mini package for them, and it's not near as intensive as my usual clients. But yeah, the help is still there, even if it's more of a minor issue.
Awesome. Yeah. So there's still some great opportunities there. Okay. So let's shift away from the business for just a second. And I think one of the biggest and most vital pieces of any of this is people should understand more about who the business owner is as a person, not just as a business, right? So just humor me for a second and tell me. So you, what's your background? I know a little bit about background, but born and raised, where'd you go to college? What'd you do in college? Those kind of fun things. And what kind of family life do you have?
Born and raised here in Topeka. I went to Shawnee Heights. From there, I attended college at Wichita State University. I was in business. That's my degree. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
And then I competed in track. I did pole vaulting. So those 4 years of college, I was pretty busy with that too.
I heard you were pretty good.
I was okay, but that's where I met my husband, and we moved back to Topeka. He works at the fire department. I worked at Security Benefit, or SE2, for quite a while. And then we started our family and have been here ever since. And we both really love Topeka, honestly. I think it's a great place to live and raise a family.
Awesome. Yeah. So do you have any like charities that you really like that you would, that if you could give a shout out, or if you wanted somebody to support a charity, is there anything that you really are passionate about?
I'd say probably St. Jude or anything having to do with
Hey,
pediatric
look at this.
cancer research. There you
I did
go.
not set that up. I did not set that up at all. I'm totally wearing my St. Jude shirt for those that cannot see the video.
Nice.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, I just, every time you hear a story about a child that's been diagnosed, it's heartbreaking. And I can't imagine anything worse than having to go through that. And so, yeah, anybody that can contribute to that research, I think, is awesome.
Well, I'm gonna take one of your plugs here for St. Jude. So as you know, but most people don't, my father is the St. Jude Dream Home Builder in the Topeka area, and we just are getting ready to launch the ticket sales for this year's home. So it's May 21st. As we're recording this probably come out, sometime next week. But the ticket sales will be out soon, and so they're going to be $100 each. There's going to be 7,000 tickets available, but they're giving away a $450,000 house. It's beautiful, it's awesome, and all the proceeds go to St. Jude. So, and donate $700,000 to St. Jude. Super cool, super exciting. So I took
That's
your
awesome.
plug there, but I've had the honor of going to the St. Jude campus in Memphis, seeing the kids, meeting some kids and people, and I could just tell you, we all want that day when they can walk up and take the keys to the front door and throw them in the river and shut the place down because they got the cures, right? And they're getting closer. I mean, when I was there a year ago, it was like 80+% survival rate, and they believe they'll be at 90 and almost completely curable in the next decade. So they still need the help though. There's a lot of money. It takes $1 billion a year to run St. Jude, $1 billion with a B, and it's a big deal. So the other thing that a lot of people don't know is that with St. Jude, they don't just do it in the United States. They now are in almost every other country, and the survival rate in almost every other country is less than 20%. So it's flipped. The survival rate of kids in the United States is 80-20. The survival rate of kids in almost all the other countries is 20-80. So it's very sad. So there's a lot more going on that we don't know about, a lot more childhood cancer. So that's my plug. I think it's a great organization. I think that everybody should support any chance they can.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, if you could travel one place in the world right now, today, you're sick of this pandemic as we're recording this during the pandemic, where would you go?
Australia.
Why Australia?
Well, it's beautiful. I definitely would check out the Great Barrier Reef, do some snorkeling. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. Can I go with you?
Yes.
I just don't want to go on that plane ride. I hear it's like 13 hours. You got to do like 2 layovers. I don't know. That's a long way.
It's true.
Yeah. But I'm with you. Well, number one thing on my bucket list for a long time has been scuba dive the Great Barrier Reef. So there you go. That's funny you said that. And if you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I would pick my grandfather. He passed away when I was not quite a year old. So I think all my life I've felt like I really missed out on knowing a really incredible person. He was a storyteller. So if I could sit down and hear him tell a story, that would be awesome.
Pretty cool. That's really cool. Okay, so last thing here, free game. Anything else about your business that we didn't talk about that you want to mention, that you want to reiterate? Anything? Table's yours. Go.
I think just letting people know that you don't have to keep suffering. I think that a lot of people think that this is something that their kids will just outgrow. But honestly, the statistics show that if you don't do anything to help your child learn to sleep well, that about 80% of the time, they're going to continue to struggle for probably several more years. So I feel strongly that you don't need to keep dealing with it for months or years on end, that there are a lot of things that you can do to help them get some good habits in place. And I just feel strongly about how good sleep is for our bodies and our minds. I get the unique opportunity to really witness that transformation and then I get to hear from their parents what a difference it's made in their behavior and in their development, that they've, all of a sudden had all of these new milestones once they started sleeping well. So it's an important thing, and I'm here to help.
Awesome. Well, let me just reiterate. Best way to contact you: website, amyhoughsleep.com, Facebook at Amy Hough Sleep Consultant, or email at amy@amyhoughsleep.com. Correct? Anything else?
Nope. On the email, I think you just left off the consulting at the end. So amy@amyhoughsleepconsulting.com.
Is that the main website too? The sleep consulting, Amy Hough Sleep Consulting? Or is it amyhoughsleep.com?
No, I had to make it difficult on you. It's just, the website's just amyhoughsleep.com.
That's okay. But the email has the consulting on the end?
Exactly. Yep.
Is it consulting or consultant?
Consulting.
I just want to make sure I type it right. Consulting.
Yep, ING.
Perfect. So I'll get that information posted correctly. And I'm going to give you one last plug here. So for everybody listening, this is one of those things that you did not know that you needed. As a parent with young children, I can almost bet money that you need this, right? This is a service that you probably never even knew existed unless you've been introduced to it recently through a referral. The way that you can help Amy right now is not just by hiring her, which I believe you should do, absolutely 100% hire her, is refer her. Almost every parent that has young kids has friends that have young kids, and ask them how they're doing. If you can tell that they're off a little bit, if something is not like normal with your friends who have kids, ask them how their kids are sleeping. Figure out if they're okay. Reach out. Right now, during this pandemic, there's a lot of people who are doing things differently. People are sleeping weird. People are in different locations, myself included. There is so many things going on, which the more and more that you don't take care of your sleep, your kids' sleep, this is when things happen that you can't control. And this is, one of those areas that if you, and I'm just going to be the person to say it, this is where child abuse does happen sometimes, when people cannot control their personal, and when adults cannot control their own sleep, when they're so off that think about it like a cell phone battery. If you don't charge your cell phone battery up, it's dead. Imagine your phone trying to work with no battery. It just doesn't happen. You can't function, you can't think. And so everybody needs to talk to Amy if you have any kind of kids that are having trouble sleeping, or anything that you want advice about. And like she said, she has different packages for everybody. Anything you want to add off of that? I know I added a big bomb there at the end, but
I do want to give a little piece of advice, especially if you're a woman that is thinking about starting a business. One thing that I didn't know when I started my business initially is that we have a ton of resources in Topeka to help small business owners. And it didn't really dawn on me that being a woman means that I'm a minority business owner. And that qualifies me for some incentives and grants and things. And that's free money that has helped me with my business, and to, help with marketing and to get it off the ground. So definitely look into those things. Yeah, with Go Topeka and Greater Topeka Partnership, there's a lot of resources. There's classes you can take. I took a new venture class that was really low cost, but it was a phenomenal class. I learned a lot. So utilize those, take advantage of them, because there's a lot out there to help you.
Very cool. That was great advice. So thank you so much, Amy, for being on today and being one of my early adaptive clients to this, I would say, because you're the third person that I've interviewed. So I'm pretty excited about this. And I believe we're going to look back just like your business 2 or 3 years later and go, oh my gosh, look at everything that's been accomplished. So so please, if you need anything or if you need any advice on sleep consulting, Amy is your gal. So thank you again, Amy, for coming on, and hopefully we'll have you back on here in maybe a couple months.
Sounds good. Thanks, Cole. I was happy to do it, and I think what you're doing is awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And well, here we go. We're signing off. Thank you. You've been listening to Topeka Business Uncensored, where we interview business owners in the Topeka, Kansas area about their business and a little bit about them as a person. I'm Cole Boling, and I am one of the co-owners with my wife, Jamie, of the Boling Group real estate team with Keller Williams, One Legacy Partners in Topeka. If you are thinking about selling, buying, or investing in real estate, I'd love to connect with you through our website at thebolinggroup.com.